The autumn rain fell steadily outside Narita International Airport as I clutched my single suitcase, watching my family drive away. Their last words still echoed in my ears, mixing with the announcements in Japanese that I barely understood. "You'll fail without us." My sister Amanda's voice had dripped with derision. "You can't even speak the language properly. Come back when you're done playing Explorer, Olivia," Dad had said, not even bothering to hide his disappointment. "Your position at the family firm will still be there, entry level of course." Only Mom had shown any emotion besides scorn, though her tears seemed more from embarrassment than concern. "What will we tell people?" she'd whispered. "Our daughter, running away to Japan like some anime-obsessed teenager?" I was 26, with an MBA from Stanford and 3 years of international business experience. But to them, I was still the family failure who dared to dream beyond the walls of Harrison and Sons Consulting, our family's prestigious but stagnating firm in Boston. 5 years later, I stood in my corner office in the Shibuya district of Tokyo, watching another autumn rain paint the city in shades of gray and neon. My assistant, Yuki, cleared her throat politely. "Harrison-san, the quarterly reports are ready for your review." She placed a thick folder on my desk, each page meticulously prepared. "And there are more applications from your family's company." I smiled slightly, picking up the folder. "How many this time?" 15, Yuki replied, her professional demeanor cracking slightly. "Including your sister Amanda and your cousin Peter." The irony wasn't lost on me. 5 years ago, they'd laughed as I left everything behind to join a small tech startup in Tokyo. Now, as CEO of Sakura Innovation Group, one of Asia's fastest-growing technology consultancies, I was the one reviewing their desperate applications. My phone buzzed, a text from Amanda. "Liv, please. Can we talk? The firm's struggling and your success in the Asian market. We could really use your help." I set the phone aside, remembering the day I'd announced my decision to leave. We'd been at the annual Harrison family dinner, an oppressively formal affair at the Boston Harbor Hotel. "Japan." Dad had scoffed, swirling his scotch. "What could you possibly learn there that you couldn't learn here, working your way up properly in the family business?" "Everything," I'd replied. "The world is changing, Dad. American consulting firms are losing ground in Asia. We need to adapt to understand the market from the inside." "Nonsense," Uncle Robert had chimed in. "Harrison and Sons has operated the same way for 3 generations. If it was good enough for your grandfather, it's good enough for you." I tried to explain about technological innovation, about changing market dynamics, about the rise of Asian economies. They dismissed every point, every carefully researched argument. "At least I'm dating someone with sense," Amanda had said, squeezing her then-boyfriend's hand. "James is joining the firm next month. He understands the value of tradition." James, now my sister's ex-husband, was among the first to apply to Sakura Innovation Group when Harrison and Sons started losing major clients to more adaptable competitors. A knock at my office door pulled me from my memories. Takashi, my head of operations and one of my first allies in Japan, entered with another folder. "The merger papers are ready," he said in the perfect English he'd helped me trade for my now fluent Japanese. "Harrison and Sons board has approved all terms." I nodded, remembering how this had started. The small startup that hired me had seen what my family couldn't. That my obsession with Japanese business culture and technology trends wasn't naive enthusiasm, but calculated foresight. Within 2 years, I'd helped the company secure partnerships with major Japanese tech firms. By year 3, I was leading their international division. When the founder retired last year, the board unanimously appointed me as CEO. "Should we proceed with the formal offer?" Takashi asked. I opened my laptop, pulling up the latest valuations. Harrison and Sons, once the pride of Boston's business community, was worth less than a quarter of Sakura Innovation Group. Their client list had shrunk by 60% in the past 3 years, while we'd expanded across Asia, Europe, and yes, even America. "Set up the video call with their board for tomorrow morning," I said. 9 a.m. Boston time. "Your father will be there," Takashi noted carefully. "As majority shareholder, he'll have to approve the final terms." I smiled, remembering Dad's last words to me at the airport. "You'll come crawling back within a year, begging for your old job." "I know," I replied, standing to look out at the Tokyo skyline. "Make sure the call records properly. Some moments deserve to be preserved." Later that evening, in my penthouse apartment overlooking the city, I reviewed the applications from my family members. Amanda's was particularly desperate, filled with references to our shared childhood and family loyalty. The same loyalty they'd never shown me. My phone buzzed again, this time a message from Mom. "Darling, we were wrong. So wrong. Please, the family needs you now." I set the phone aside and walked to my window wall, pressing my hand against the cool glass. Below, Tokyo pulsed with energy, a city that had welcomed me, challenged me, and ultimately helped me prove everyone wrong. On my desk sat a framed photo, the last family picture taken before I left for Japan. Everyone posed perfectly in their expensive suits, while I stood slightly apart in the simple black dress they'd mocked as unprofessional. None of them could have imagined that 5 years later, I'd be orchestrating the takeover of their precious family firm from an office in Tokyo. Yuki's voice came through the intercom. "Harrison-san, your father is asking for an urgent meeting before tomorrow's call. He's offering to fly to Tokyo immediately." I thought about all the times he'd been too busy to take my calls during my first year here. How they'd all laughed when I missed Cousin Tracy's wedding because I was closing my first major deal in Singapore. "Tell him I'm in meetings all day," I replied. "He can present his thoughts during the board call tomorrow." "Hi, Wakura Mashita," Yuki responded, her tone suggesting she understood this was about more than just business. I picked up Amanda's application again, noting how she'd emphasized her international perspective, gained entirely from luxury vacations in Europe. How different from my years of learning Japanese business etiquette, of making mistakes and earning respect, of building something real while they mocked my choices. Tomorrow, they would all learn exactly what their naive relative had accomplished while they weren't paying attention. Tomorrow, the family that had laughed at my dreams would face the reality that their future now depended on my decision. I poured myself a glass of sake, a rare vintage gifted by one of our major clients, and raised it to the Tokyo skyline. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving others wrong, it's proving yourself right. The morning of the video call, I arrived at my office before dawn. Tokyo's lights still sparkled against the dark sky as I reviewed the final merger documents one last time. Each page represented a step in my journey from family outcast to industry leader. Yuki entered with my morning green tea, her usual calm demeanor slightly ruffled. "Harrison-san, your family members have been calling since 3 a.m. Tokyo time. Your sister Amanda has sent 17 emails in the last hour." I opened my inbox, scanning the increasingly desperate messages. "Liv, please don't do this to us. We can work something out. Dad's not sleeping. Mom's a wreck. Remember when we were kids? Family should stick together." The last one made me laugh bitterly. Where was that family loyalty when I'd spent my first Christmas alone in Tokyo, too busy learning the business to fly home, only to receive a group photo of them all at the annual Harrison party with the caption, "Missing our explorer. Hope the sushi is worth it." Takashi arrived next, tablet in hand. "The Boston office is ready. Full board attendance confirmed." He paused, checking his notes. "Your father appears to have been drinking." "Of course he has," I murmured. "Put them on the main screen." The wall-sized display flickered to life, revealing the Harrison and Sons boardroom. The contrast couldn't have been starker. Their dark wood paneling and oil paintings versus my sleek, modern office with its panoramic views of Tokyo. Dad sat at the head of their table, his usual impeccable appearance noticeably disheveled. Amanda hovered behind him while Uncle Robert and the other board members filled the remaining seats. Their faces showed varying degrees of desperation and resentment. "Olivia," Dad began, his voice rough. "This isn't necessary. We can discuss this as a family." "This is a business meeting," I replied in crisp Japanese before switching to English. "Shall we review the terms?" Takashi began presenting the merger details. Sakura Innovation Group would acquire Harrison and Sons, maintaining it as a subsidiary but completely restructuring its operations. Most current executives would be replaced. The Harrison name would remain, but under my company's banner. "This is robbery," Uncle Robert exploded. "You're stealing your grandfather's legacy." I leaned forward, letting them see the Tokyo skyline behind me. "I'm saving it. Your quarterly reports show a 40% decline in revenue. Your major clients are leaving for firms with actual international experience. Without this merger, Harrison and Sons will be bankrupt within 18 months. We just need time to adapt, Amanda protested. Like I needed time? I countered. When I proposed expanding into Asian markets 5 years ago, what did you say, Amanda? Stick to what you know, little sister. Leave the real business to the adults. He flinched, remembering. Your acquisition offer is insultingly low, Dad growled. I clicked to a new slide. Actually, we're offering 30% above market value. More than generous, considering your company's current trajectory. Shall I show the projection models? The next hour was brutal. I systematically laid out every mistake they'd made, every opportunity they'd missed, every market trend they'd ignored while clinging to their outdated methods. Their faces grew increasingly pale as they realized just how thoroughly I understood their weaknesses. You planned this, Uncle Robert accused. All along you were plotting to take over. I smiled, switching to flawless Japanese to confer with Takashi before responding. The board members shifted uncomfortably, excluded from a language they'd never bothered to learn. No, I finally said. I plan to succeed. Taking over your failing company is just a bonus. Olivia, Mom's voice came from off-screen. She stepped into view looking older than I remembered. We're your family. Family. I pulled up an email from 3 years ago, projecting it onto their screen. It was from Dad, responding to my invitation to visit Tokyo and see what I'd built. Too busy with real work to play tourist. Amanda just made junior partner. Try to be happy for her. I offered to help you modernize, I continued. To share my connections, my knowledge of the Asian market. You refused. Harrison and Sons doesn't need foreign influence, remember? Dad's face reddened. We were protecting our legacy. And now that legacy is mine. I nodded to Takashi, who distributed the final documents electronically. You have 1 hour to sign. After that, the offer drops by 10% every day you delay. You can't do this to us, Amanda whispered. Actually, I can. And I'm not doing it to you, you did it to yourselves. While you were mocking my decision to come to Japan, I was learning, adapting, growing. While you were clinging to grandfather's outdated methods, I was building something new. I stood, letting them see my full transformation from the uncertain young woman they'd mocked to the CEO I'd become. Sign the papers or watch your company dissolve. Either way, I win. And if we sign? Dad asked, his voice barely controlled. What happens to the family? I smiled, remembering all the family events I'd missed while building my empire. That depends. Are you ready to work for your little girl? To take orders from the daughter you said would never succeed without you? The silence was deafening. I'll take your current positions into consideration during restructuring, I continued. But understand this. Merit, not blood, will determine your future roles. Just like it determined mine. One by one they signed electronically, their defeated expressions visible in high definition on my wall screen. As the last signature came in, Takashi confirmed the transaction was complete. Welcome to Sakura Innovation Group, I said, switching to Japanese before ending the call. Let them wonder what I'd said. As the screen went dark, I remained standing, watching the sun rise over Tokyo. 5 years of work, of proving myself, of building something they couldn't dismiss or diminish, had led to this moment. My phone buzzed, a text from Amanda. I'm sorry. For everything. Please give me a chance to learn from you. Next came an email from Dad, its subject line simple, you won. I thought about the lonely nights when I'd first arrived in Japan, barely speaking the language, determined to prove them wrong. About the countless meetings where I'd earned respect through competence rather than family name. About the empire I'd built while they laughed at my adventure. Prepare their new contracts, I told Takashi. Entry-level positions. They need to learn the business from the ground up, the way I did. And their applications? Yuki asked, gesturing to the stack on my desk. I picked up Amanda's resume, remembering her mockery at the airport 5 years ago. File them with the others. They can compete for positions like everyone else. That evening, I hosted a celebration at my penthouse. As Tokyo's lights sparkled below, I raised a toast with the team that had helped me succeed. The people who'd become my real family. To proving them wrong? Takashi suggested. I shook my head, thinking of the long journey from that rainy day at Narita Airport to this moment. To proving ourselves right. My phone buzzed again. More messages from family members, alternating between apologies and accusations. I turned it off, focusing instead on the city that had given me everything my family had said I couldn't have. Success, respect, and the chance to prove that sometimes the best revenge is simply becoming exactly who you knew you could be. Tomorrow I would begin the process of restructuring Harrison & Sons, of teaching my family the lessons they should have learned years ago. But tonight, I celebrated with the people who had believed in me when my own blood hadn't. Sometimes you have to leave everything behind to find what you're truly worth. Sometimes those who laugh at your dreams end up begging to be part of your reality. And sometimes the best way to honor a family legacy is to completely reinvent it. The next morning's headlines would announce the acquisition. My family would wake up to find their comfortable world transformed, their positions uncertain, their futures dependent on the daughter they'd dismissed. They would learn what I had learned in Japan. That true success comes not from inheritance or tradition, but from courage, innovation, and the willingness to risk everything to prove yourself right. And as I stood in my Tokyo office, watching another sunrise over the city that had made me who I am, I knew that this wasn't just a victory, it was vindication. 5 years ago they'd laughed as I left for Japan. Now they worked for me. Sometimes life's greatest pleasures come not from the success itself, but from the look on people's faces when they realize just how wrong they were about you. The future stretched before me, bright with possibilities. My family would either adapt and learn or fade into irrelevance. Either way I had won. Not just the company but the right to be exactly who I was meant to be, without their approval or understanding. And that, more than any merger or acquisition, was worth every moment of the journey.